Young people were built for God, and without God as the center of their lives, they become frustrated and confused. Ever searching, desperately grasping for completion. Some say to young people, the world is at your feet. But this is only true if they grasp God and have heaven in their hearts. My name is Karen Guye, and I am glad that you have stopped by for a visit. This evening, we will be reading the book Messages to Young People by Ellen G. White. It is important to know what God really wants for the youth. Trust me, He wants the best. So go, my friends, get your Bibles, whether they're paperback or electronic. Let us open up our heart and our minds and listen to godly counsel. I am here to help you with these readings. I'll hold your hand virtually and we'll read this book together.
Messages to Young People, written by Ellen G. White. Chapter 5, or Day of Opportunity. There are lessons for us to learn at this time from the experience of those who labored for God in past generations. How little we know of the conflicts and trials and labors of these men, as they fitted themselves to meet the armies of Satan. Putting on the whole armor of God, they were able to stand against the wiles of Satan. These men, who in the past gave themselves to God and to the uplifting of His cause, were as true as steel to principle. They were men who would not fail to be discouraged, men who, like Daniel, were full of reverence and zeal for God, full of noble purposes and aspirations. They were as weak and helpless as any of those who are now engaged in the work, but they put their whole trust in God. They had wealth, but it consisted of mind and soul culture. This everyone may have, who will make God first and last and best in everything. Although destitute of wisdom, knowledge, virtue, and power, we may receive all these if we learn from Christ the lessons that it is our privilege to learn. The kind of workers needed. In this time, we have opportunities and advantages that it was not easy to obtain in generations past. We have increased light, and this has come through the work of those faithful sentinels who made God their dependence and received power from Him to let light shine and clear. Bright rays to the world in our day, we have increased light to improve, as in times past men and women of noble worth improved the light that God gave them. They toiled long to learn the lessons given them in the school of Christ, and they did not toil in vain. Their persevering efforts were rewarded. They bound themselves up with the mightiest of all powers, and yet they were ever longing for a deeper, higher, and broader comprehension of eternal realities, that they might successfully present the treasures of truth to a needy world. Workers of this character are needed now, those who are men in the sight of God, and who are thus recorded on the book of heaven, are those who, like Daniel, cultivate every faculty in such a way as best to represent the kingdom of God in a world lying in wickedness. Progress in knowledge is essential, for when employed in the cause of God, knowledge is a power for good. The world needs men of thought, men of principle, men who are constantly growing in understanding and discernment. The press is in need of men to use it to the best advantage, that the truth may be given wings to speed it to every nation and tongue and people. Our source of efficiency. We need to make use of the youth who will cultivate honest industry, who are not afraid to put their powers to task. Such youth will find a position anywhere, because they falter not by the way. In mind and soul they bear the divine similitude. Their eye is single, and constantly they press onward and upward, crying, Victory! But there is no call for the indolent, the fearful and unbelieving, who by the lack of faith and their unwillingness to deny self for Christ's sake, keep the work from advancing. God calls for those who will be workers together with Him. Connected with Christ, human nature becomes pure and true. Christ supplies the efficiency, and man becomes a power for good. Truthfulness and integrity are attributes of God, and he who possesses these attributes possesses a power that is invincible. Review and Herald, March 10, 1903. Righteousness within. Righteousness within is testified to be righteousness without. He who is righteousness within is not hard-hearted and unsympathetic, but day by day he grows into the image of Christ, going on from strength to strength. He who is being sanctified by the truth will be self-controlled and will follow in the footsteps of Christ until grace is lost in glory. The righteousness by which we are justified is imputed. The righteousness by which we are sanctified is imparted. The first is our title to heaven, the second is our fitness for heaven. Review and Herald, June 4, 1895.
Let us open up our heart and our minds and listen to godly counsel. I am here to help you with these readings. I'll hold your hand virtually and we'll read this book together. Have a good evening and God bless you.